Okay, I told somebody I would make a video, so that's what I'm gonna do. I made this paper, oh, it's probably been 4 or 5 days ago now. I can't recall. But I kind of just made up the process to see how it would turn out. And so I'm gonna try and repeat that today, but I'm not at my studio, so I don't have some of the same supplies. So I'm going to use different supplies. There's a word for that, but it's not coming to mind right now. Okay, so substitute, something like that. So, and in looking for supplies, I found this other paper that I made several years ago. And it was fun. I used a tissue paper with glittery stuff in it, and then I applied plastic wrap with matte medium, and then I thought I would use it as a page in an art journal, and so then I applied this grouping of flowers and a flower pot to it. And it's still kind of just in process, I think, because I didn't want to glue anything to the other side. It was so pretty, so I never really finished it. But it's very strong as the plastic wrap is. But this new technique that I did, I have a couple other things that I did to it. So first of all, I started with a piece of, okay, I thought I found a piece to do it with. Here it is. A piece of mulberry paper. And if I hold this just right, you can see that there are all kinds of threads going through it. Can you see that? I know you can't answer me. There, that helped a little bit. So this is really strong stuff. It does tear, but it tears irregularly when you encounter one of the threads. So you can't ever really tear it perfectly straight. Even with a ruler, it can go wonky. So anyway, I started with a piece of this, and I painted it, and I think, in fact, now I'm sure, I used liquid acrylic. I think it was Utrecht, maybe. I don't have that here either. But I did also run across this piece of mulberry paper, and you can see the threads and stuff in it, that I painted at another time. And so I thought, well, I could start with this. It's kind of the same thing, and I don't have to wait for it to dry. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to start with, actually, I'm not going to use this big of a piece. I'm going to use this smaller piece. And you can see the threads on the side and everything. So that was my bottom layer of this. And here's the threads of that mulberry paper. Okay. And then my next layer was plain white tissue paper. So the one thing that's different is this is not wet because I painted it long ago. And so I'm setting it on here. So the plain white tissue paper, which I don't need this much of, I only need about this much. I should have brought a ruler in here. Nope. Ooh, there's scissors in here. Okay. So I'll just cut a strip. Not very neatly, but one that will fit on top of this strip. Okay? Alright, I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way. Okay, so then, because this was wet, the painted mulberry paper, this adhered to it, which is not the case right now. So I'm going to have to make it adhere to it. So I'm just going to get it wet, because that's all this was. It was wet acrylic paint. So I'm going to try just adding some water to this to make it like fasten itself on. And you know, I just noticed this is not the same kind of tissue paper. This is the kind that's shiny on one side. The other one was not. Okay, so here is another piece of tissue paper. This is the one I was going to use. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to cut it. Boy, it's good thing I had this. Okay. And yeah, this is real time, so you get to watch me cutting. All right, so now, and I'm on a cookie rack, okay? Now I'm gonna get this wet. Let's see, what's the best way to do that? I didn't bring my spray bottle out. That would have been really good. And I'm not going to go look for it. So I'm gonna hit pause and get some water. Okay, I have a glass of water, and I'm literally just gonna sprinkle this with water. There. And then I can smooth it out. Oh yeah, that works. Because wet tissue paper will stick to just about anything. So what this is doing is it's kind of forming itself around the grid of the cookie sheet, which is what my intention was. I wanted the paper to have grid lines. I'm just trying not to get the phone, putting a little more at this end because it wasn't exactly wet. Okay, so then I decided, let's put some medium on it. And on my other one, I used GAC 200 by Golden. I don't have that here. So I'm going to use Matte Fluid Medium by Liquitex. Similar. But GAC 200 is expressly used for helping to adhere things to other things. Okay, I got a little goobery thing here out of the pouring spout. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I wanted to put something under this because I'm doing this on my kitchen counter. So I'm gonna put this Amazon envelope underneath it to catch the drips. It could be a little bigger, but I don't have a little bigger one. So I have a brush and I have the medium, and I'm gonna brush this on. And once I get this on, then I'm gonna take a piece of plastic wrap. On the other one I used cling wrap, which I don't have here. All these substitutes, you know. But hey, that's what experimenting is all about, trying it different ways and seeing what the outcome is. So this is going through the tissue paper and adhering it to the mulberry paper, because that's what wetness does on tissue paper. Okay, so now I'm going to get, I have this, just stuck my finger in something. I have this stretch tight plastic wrap from Costco. It's my favorite because it's nice and thick. All right, let's see if it's kind of about, well, it's not quite the same. I better go this other way. All right, so I'm gonna put it over, whoops, and then it's got this nice handy cutter on the edge. I love that. So I'm going over this way and over this way and pressing down on the rack so that it really gets the impressions of this grid. And unfortunately, I now have to let this dry overnight. So I'm going to mark this as part 1 video because I'm not going to hit pause on my phone and expect it to keep it overnight. But because it won't. And then tomorrow morning, I'll leave this out here on the counter, so first thing in the morning I will see if it's dry, and I'll give it a while to kind of be wet and sink into the grid this way, and then if it's not quite dry, tomorrow I'll flip the whole cookie rack over, and then I'll put heavy things on it so it will press the rack into the paper more. But I may not have to do that because this is a small piece, but that's what I did on the other one. So all these little differences, who knows if it's going to turn out anything similar, but we'll see. And I have another idea that I'm going to try as well, because I found these little, I've had these tucked away for quite some time. These are, they're powders of some sort. Color Craft Brusho. And I know somebody knows what this is, but I don't know well enough to explain it to you. But it's something that you can then mix with wetness and it will make color. And I have like 3 or 4 of them in here that I inherited from somebody. So, all right, so I will see you in part 2.